All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Paris. Today is January 22nd. We are running the sub-project meeting for contributor experience. Contributor experience is contributor documentation, which is a key area for the project. What we usually do during this meeting is go through a project board that has some issues that are labeled with contributor documentation, kind cleanup, etc., from the community repo. Make sure that things are being addressed or heard, or someone has a cycle, or we tell the triage team to either life cycle frozen it or something along those lines. We do have new folks with us. I know, Bart, this might be your first meeting at this group, and then Samuel Draw, I think this might be your first meeting at this group as well. So instead of doing the project board first, do either of you have any questions, concerns, or comments that you wanted to bring to the crew today or group today?
Oh, I actually want to see how the things are going here. Maybe there will be something I can help with, or
yeah,
that's just my
Bart,
idea.
please, we would love to have you. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that you wanted to address, like a PR or anything that's been waiting. And then how about you, Samuel Draw? Same thing?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I've been working on another sub-project with regarding the personas with Marky, and I want to see what are the things regarding this documentation, or what's happening here.
You're muted, Paris.
Wow, I wonder why it muted me. I was just sharing my screen. All right. Let's go right into the project board then, because this is where we'll see kind of what we're working with right now. We keep a pretty basic project board. If you want to help out with that, that's awesome. We do have a triage team now in contributor experience. They live in Slack. It's like a sig-contribx-triage. They're trying hard to figure out how to like box them up and make a service out of triage, but that's a separate story. So what we have in the to-do column and the progress column, most of these issues right now in progress column are our outreachy intern, Bisha. Bisha's awesome. She's been plowing through a lot of the developer guide related issues. We keep the developer guide and the contributor guide separate for Barton and Samardraw that may not already know that. And both of them eventually will live, not necessarily their entire beings of text, but at least links will eventually live on a future contributor site. The contributor site is also a part of this contributor documentation project as well. That lives in a different repo, and we have a different project board for that. We should probably get an umbrella issue in here that talks about the contributor guide with maybe some of like the features that are going to go first. So either I'll take an action for that. Bob, can you make a note for me too? Can you do me a favor and take notes really quick while I'm sharing my screen? I apologize.
Oh, that's all good. So just create issue.
Yeah, I need to take an AI to create an umbrella issue that just briefly talks about the contributor site, and just to, because they're in different repos. And then just list at a very high level some of the issues that are features that are going to roll first. So I can do that today. All right. So outside of developer guide stuff, though, we do have the KEP in here, the contributor site discussion, but it would be cool to have like a feature issue as well. Umbrella issue for reviews. This has been sitting for a while, and I know Visha has been doing some, I'm going to full issue. She's been doing some work with looking at videos, like Tim's videos that he does about how to be a good code reviewer, and making documentation on like what it means to actually review PRs with Kubernetes. Obviously, different strokes for different folks in different areas, but this is a guide that Visha's been working on, but it's a very big guide. So if you wanted to either help her or jump in, I doubt she would mind. And then let's see some other things that I just wanted to highlight in the in progress section that are already assigned. The test grid analysis, I don't believe she's worked on that yet. This is something that we do think is a priority based off of what we've already seen the survey results come back. I mean, we've only done just a brief skim of the survey results, but a lot of people have said that they want more test grid documentation. And
we do actually, something that might be good to chime in on that issue with is the presentation from the Contributor Summit this past year from Michelle's test grid.
Yep.
And essentially just documenting that, because test grid itself, a lot of the pain points have actually been automated away if you have a job and can just point it towards the job name. The other thing that's come up is the job documentation itself. It might be something long-term worth surfacing on the contributor site, and just like, how to write a proud job.
All right, cool. All right, so yeah, we can check Visha, and by the way, Visha took most of these issues, but I know that she definitely needs help. So if any of this speaks to you, I know she hasn't necessarily done any work on this one, for instance, because we've been mentoring her. So if there is anybody on the line where that speaks to this, Samuel Draw, this could be a really easy PR for you, especially because Michelle already did a video on it. So just pretty much translating the video, more of like a documented process around that. And then let's see here.
I think it needs to be assigned, or is it I can just take it up and work on? I can work on it.
Yeah, just go ahead and just go ahead and comment on the issue. It's community number 2441. We can put that in the notes and assign it to you in the notes as well.
Yeah, you can ping Visha on the thread too, just saying that you're gonna start work on it.
All right, so that's pretty much it. That's what we have labeled as in progress right now, but I know that there's some of the to-dos that need to go over as well. But let's start with some of the ones that clearly don't have anybody assigned to them. So we've got this one. This is a Ben rant from Slack that we hadn't put in Slack just because it has a lot of good issues. This issue, hold on one second, let me stop share so that you can see my whole screen. Okay. All right. So this was what Ben had said to us in Slack one day, and we said, this is all really great info. Actually, we should put this in an issue. The thing is, it's not really an issue. It's more of a rant. So we need this broken down into multiple issues, and then we can get some people assigned to that and more clear guidance there. I think most people look at this issue and get scared and run away because it's got a lot of ambiguous things. And like, if you know the project kind of things in it, so it makes it hard for a help wanted. But there are a lot of things in here, in my opinion, that we could probably break down into help wanted issues. So if that's something that calls to you too, we definitely could use help as well, because we do have contributors sometimes that will file issues about their experience and not necessarily about something that's specifically broken, if you will. So we need to identify like what actually is broken. All right. And then we've got CLA edge cases and how to approach them. No assignee there. CLA, go ahead, Bob.
That one, I think at this point, it literally is just contact the Linux Foundation, since they've consolidated everything down into their support board.
So meaning like it's literally putting the phrase contact us, contact Linux Foundation.
I'm pretty sure that can actually be closed, because any edge cases at this point, it has to go to the LF. We have no means of working with that.
But do we have that in our documentation?
Yes. It is in I think at the root CLA thing. If you have any problems, essentially, that's file a CNCF help desk ticket. Like I can dig up the link really
Yeah,
quick.
that's fine. Closing it. That's great. Sure. All right.
Oops, wrong link. I was going to send the troubleshooting one.
Okay. All right. And then we've got most guides are not detailed enough. This was, hold on, don't move. Is this an oldie but goodie? This is 2017. I think this is still open because something about the Docker or something.
Which issue is that?
This one's from 2017. This one says that the Docker MD file, it basically says run Hypercube with these params, and even after an update, it's mostly don't do this anymore. Use Minikube instead.
Yeah, I think that one can just be closed.
Does that still say that? Hold on, let's look. Yeah, that's not even there. Can I just close? I'm going to close this.
Just close it.
The doc doesn't even exist anymore. I might even say, Eric, check out our new stuff. All right, so I'm going to do that one in a second. Let's go, while I have your time and attention, let's go through some of the rest of them. The rest of them have folks. Now, I'm looking to see how they're doing. This one is one that is one of the documents that we have. It's kind of like the API conventions. It's the development environment one that is constantly changing, and it constantly needs updates, like development environments and how people are opinionated on it. People are constantly telling us that the install guide is not accurate. So if anybody wants to take a stab at this, we always have people fly by here and say that they'll do it, and they don't.
Actually, scroll down to the bottom because I think Marky and Bishop were working on it.
Yeah, but this is not a priority. I know for a fact it's not a priority for them. Okay. So this is all, look, Bishop claimed it December 21. So I know, her priorities right now are getting the features up for the contributor site.
Okay.
That's the priorities for her right now. So this is, like I said, this always is a living doc. We need to figure out a way to identify the living docs that always change and make sure that, I don't know, maybe every contributor experience meeting now that it's bi-weekly, we check those docs, make sure they're good, and if new contributors show up on the line, have them take those, key documents and make changes to them or something. Questions, concerns, or does anybody on the line just absolutely want to take this? It's calling you, Bart. I see it. Anyway.
I don't feel confident enough that I will be able to do it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. All right. And then how to do reviews and PRs.
That one I think is in flight, or that might have just been the review, updating the review guidelines.
Is that kind of the same thing as what the other one's doing?
Yeah, that's I don't know if they're both. Yeah, it's assigned to her as well, just and around the same. You can see she's linked. Scroll down to the bottom.
I know. I see her.
She linked it to feature additional review guidelines. The big thing I would really like to see out of that PR is essentially the next iteration of that PR is the documentation of Thakins how to be a badass code review. Yeah,
I thought that's what she just did.
No, she put in some general guidelines, but it's very lightweight. There's not nothing from his talk in there. It's just a link to his talk.
Okay, I thought because she gave me the link to his talk last night and said that that's what she used. So I'm gonna.
It might be that unless she might have recently updated or not have it as a separate PR.
All right.
I mean, that talk is gold.
Yeah, I know.
I would want everyone to watch that.
Well, that's exactly why we did it. So, and that's why I'm trying to like think about telling folks on the Contributor Summit team that they should not necessarily think about like what people are going to enjoy that day, but also what we could use as videos go forward. So like SIG should present on topics like walkthroughs and stuff like that, knowing that they're going to get recorded and that we can use this for documentation in the future. All right. Yeah. And then the boxed up workshop, that's something that like everybody knows needs to happen ASAP because this is how we scale the new contributor workshop. And we should also make it a digital workshop, which is something that I'm going to write in here as well. Edit. So create.
Yeah, it might be worth repaying like Allison and Chris about it too.
Okay. All right. And then develop documentation for creating a new API server, which is another super old one, like 2016.
That one I would just close it out.
I just want to see what the hell went on here. Hold on.
It's really like the general.
How to make an API server, conventions for API objects, how to add a new API group. I know we have this.
Most of it right now is like you essentially like use Queue Builder or something like that to at least get it going as a CRD. At least that's for as much as I know. Like I shouldn't say I'm an authoritative source.
Bart, what do you think about this right here as a developer on the project? Like how to, like this is someone calling for documentation on creating a new API server, but it's from 2016. So obviously old. I mean, it's from Paul. I know Paul. I feel like we already have this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've got API conventions that are also just very routinely scrubbed and maintained. Do we have this? And do we have this?
I don't actually know. How do you API group? I haven't read at least.
Okay, I'm gonna actually ping. I know this is gonna sound weird. I'm gonna be like ping Paul and say, hey, this issue from 4 years ago. Is it still needed? Like I don't know. Like how imperative do you feel like this is? Because this to me seems like something that we should have.
I think there's some docs in the development guide in the Devil Guide from API machinery. I have to double check.
Okay.
Nikita actually might be a good person to ping too.
Okay.
This documentation, is it on the website or somewhere we are looking at? So because on the website I can find the Kubernetes API groups.
This is especially on like developing a new one.
Yeah, like this would be on like as a developer, as a contributor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think maybe I'll just keep this open until I ping Paul, and then I'm going to ping Paul. Because the thing is, this is definitely not going to be a priority, this right here, like Visha getting assigned to it. So that's why I'm going to start cleaning up her plate because she's got way too many things signed to her right now. So that's it for what we have in the queue. Now I'm looking at...
Can you check this link with the API groups, which I have just pinged you on the chat?
Yeah, I'm looking into this link, and for example, there is something about extending API and...
Oh yeah, but I think it's the same link which I posted. Yeah, we are on the same page then.
Yeah.
I think it's almost that API machinery, API group, API extending. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then... So now I'm just going to...
I think the documentation sort of exists, but like, especially since breaking everything up into which SIG owns what, there isn't a good overall mapping of the documentation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, in my opinion, it looks like the issue is still open. Whether or not it's a priority, I guess, is another story. And figuring out what the priority is on that. I might ping maybe Jordan off the side and see what Jordan says about it. But we haven't had anybody really ping about those kinds of things since. So I don't know if either the API prevention stock is doing it for people or.
One other thing I wouldn't bother pinging like Jordan or anyone about this at least until like I think it's Wednesday next week, because they're going to be in crunch for enhancements freeze. Or if you do ping them, just let them know, like, it's a very low priority thing.
Well, I do have something that if anybody wants a good PR, you could take this one right here, because this is a discussion about taking out some words like just and simple and things along those lines. And we had a ton of folks that were without a doubt like in agreement with it. So next step would be implementation. So if anybody on the line wants to take this, you can partner with Maria on it. But Maria also hasn't assigned it. She said she would partner, but not necessarily do run the scripts or anything like that. So that's a good one too, if you're looking to jump in, especially not necessarily update docs, but run a script or make a script or something.
That one, you definitely have to be a little bit careful of that, because there is some actual like legit uses for it.
Yeah.
Maria, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to bring her and see.
Cool. And then let's see, we've got it looks like, here we go, more docs, area developer guide, differences and restrictions on resource version field usage and docs. That doesn't have an assignee, needs one. I wonder why this didn't show up on the contributor documentation. I think, is it because it doesn't have a kind label? Kind documentation. So that's open. And then we've got, let's see, what else? Looks like we have an assignee. Let's see what's going on here. Documenting hack scripts, story of our life. And then looks like that's pretty much it. Yeah, we need a shortcut link for the code of conduct if anybody's interested in that. We also need.
Yeah, I think if it is straightforward, I can take it up. It's a create. What was it? It's a shortcut for code of conduct, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then. See, like here's just 2 comments. We do have a code of conduct committee. They should review your work. They're not going to necessarily I doubt that they're going to, talk about the technical specifics, but they'll, they may ask to tweak some things or something in regards to the link itself or point the link somewhere else, something like that. So after you're done, let me know, and I'll ping the code of conduct committee so that they can review it.
So this, if you're going to add a shortcut, just use the go.k8s.io shortener and the k8s.io repo, because you could create go.k8s.io /COC.
All right, and then.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the URL shortener, that's just a PR in the k8s.io repo, so you can create like a go.k8s.io /COC.
What is going on here? Question about flux volumes. Why is it here?
That should probably be closed out as triage support.
Yeah. So, but like, it looks like they're in the middle of a conversation.
So
I'm gonna say, should I say, can we move this? Bart, what would you do? There's an issue in your repo that's clearly not for you, but people are still talking on it. Or what would you do?
It was October 30th, 2019.
I would close it, but with the information why.
Okay. All right.
So
Go
this
ahead,
is
Bart.
actually a longer, so a lot of this stuff keeps coming up because people are updating the design proposal still. The
So
design
should
proposal,
I say, like, can we move this to caps?
this I would just close out. Don't worry about the KEPS thing. It hasn't been updated since October 30th, 2019. So I think it's safe to close. But as far as like, because we're also getting other PRs of people updating stuff for the design proposals, ideally they should be moved into the key enhancements repo. There is an open issue for that.
I don't care. If they want to answer me, they can answer me. All right. All right.
Boris, I think you should find your charger.
I know, right? All right. Well, that was pretty much it with what we've got going on. As you can see, it's sort of like a mini SIGDUX within this group, just trying to make sure that people are getting attention. The problem that I think we need to solve is, like, how can we do this in a more programmatic way than, like, every day, doing pretty much bug scrubs. How can we build these into, like, the contributor experience meetings, things like that? These are all open-ended questions, so you don't have to answer them now if you think of ways where we could be better at this.
And is there any timeline that's being associated with the issues that being in progress, or is there any timelines definition that's there? Because I see that there's some of the issues that are 90 days inactive, something like that. So it's like, is there any timeline?
We don't have a timeline. We should, 100%. I think so. I mean, and that's one of the things that the triage team is also trying to really think about as well, is like what the SLAs are. Should we close this issue if it's been 4 years? Like, should we just open up a new one, fresh one, like that kind of thing? If you're interested in solving those kinds of problems, join the triage team. They could definitely use you because they're trying to figure out, like, how to set best practices for the community, especially the community repo, not necessarily everything else, but because we do deal with different.
Oh yeah, because I mean, it's I know that's an open source, but I'd not see timelines kind of thing in anywhere, in any SIG or anything, any other things, because it's being open, and that is being it's like if a person is assigned, we don't know whether it's a timeline, if it can shift to any other person or so, because I see around a lot of things that's being assigned for a lot of days.
You should, in that case, you just ask. In that case, because I mean, it's like, you can see some people are assigned to hundreds of issues. So in that case, I would just say, hey, I know I can solve this issue. Are you close? Do you need some help? That kind of thing. And if they don't reach out to you within like 3 days, maybe if you want to get validated, you can ask the SIG in their Slack channel, or just do it, because code is king.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you see that someone has been floundering in an issue, like especially like the one that says 2016, good gracious, right? Feel free to just pick it and do it. We are not good at unassigning ourselves in this project. I wonder if we could even build a tool that would like notify us of all the people that have like so many issues and really go like, hey, do you really want these issues? That kind of thing. I don't know. That's something
Goobinator was sort of supposed to be for that.
Yeah, Goobinator, exactly. We have a couple of Eng-Prod tools that are like supposed to be like that, but like don't necessarily have that like alert.
well, most of the alerts people ignore, and they kind of have to know to go and check out like Gubinator.
Well, and so the other deal is the contributor site, right? So I didn't show you any of that, Bart. I'm not sure how interested you are in the contributor site or Summon Draw.
Oh, yeah, that I mean, yeah, if you can, because I couldn't see the link there. Yes,
Yeah.
if you can
So for
share
now, I'm going to go ahead and share. And then I'm going to give Bart a heart attack by not plugging my computer in. Just kidding.
power.
Oh, hold on. Power. And then activate. All right, here we go. All right, so this is the contributor site. You can say K6 right here. Bob and George pretty much hoisted up the Hugo end, Bob being like the largest committer there. It is a Hugo site. We do have Netlify. Excuse me. Visha, like I mentioned earlier, is one of the main folks that is working on it right now. Here's some of the issues. Most of the issues are, I'm not going to lie to you, research, focus groups, and things that aren't standard issues. So one of the main things that we're trying to do now is break these down so that they are issues, so that we can have punch cards. You can see that the project board is actually located in the Kubernetes SIGs repository. So here's the contributor site board. What our mentality, or what our brain waves here are like is features that we want out the gate, the first round, features that are like in progress floating somewhere, obviously blocked stuff, next iteration, and like a parking lot of ideas. The parking lot of ideas is really what needs to be broken down into like punch card issues, so that like, anybody on this call can jump into a contributor guide issue and just work on it. That's not the case right now. So as you can see, just some of the features that we're going to get out the door to begin with are the code of conduct. So obviously we're going to display that. A README and a README that will have a code of conduct section. Looks like she's working on some kind of Hugo versioning thing. I think, Bob, she might have been waiting on you for something along those lines. And then also she's working on an events page. So that's pretty much the stuff. Oh, actually, no, that's done. I apologize, Bob. So this is the stuff that is done, and then this is the stuff that's in progress, if you will. So for instance, there's going to be an events page that's just going to be the calendar to jump. We're going to have an extensive events page, down the road, but this is just a calendar. A home page. Did you reach out to her about the Google API key, or did that get straightened out?
Yeah, so for that one, probably either need to use contributors at contributors.io or ping WGK8 Infra about just getting a API key that's not my personal API key.
Yeah.
It just has to be locked down to like, I might have commented about it. I've talked to her about it.
3 days ago, I suggest importing the key in
Yeah, we talked about it in Slack, but the issue isn't updated.
Okay. So do you want me to update this, or do you want to update it?
I'll take care of it. The main thing is like there's no way of hiding the API key. It's going to be public, and that's sort of expected. So it just has to be restricted to the right domains.
Okay.
It can live on my personal API key until we're actually ready to go live.
And then there's going to be a contributor guide section as well. The problem with the how it is currently is that it's too verbose and lengthy. So we're trying to figure out how to be better web writers and probably do a custom page that hot links from a table of contents perspective to GitHub. So there's canonical sources.
The big thing for that right now is that is completely sourced from the contributor guide in the community repo. So ideally, the README in the community repo gets updated to be what we want it to be, and that will be reflected on the contributor site.
Okay, so then we should just display the README for right now then.
And it could just pull it over, but that will have to change links. It's a little bit more complicated.
There is no way that full guide's going up text. There's just no way.
Well, it's like if the contributor guide gets the README is updated to be what we want it to be with the correct links to other documents in there, it should be fine.
Yeah, like I think the read, like, hold up.
So here.
Hold up. Kubernetes. Oh, shit. Hold up.
Here, I'll link you to what it looks like on the.
Oh my God, it's just too long, Bob. This is too long. This is way too long. This README should be literally a table of contents and that's it. This is too, like, can you imagine scrolling through a website like that? Bob, there's no way.
Yeah, and that's just what it was from, you know.
So that's why
I think
I have her
when,
working on a custom page. She's working on a custom page that will pretty much link to key elements here. So it's going to link to, before you get started, your first contribution, contributing, Kubernetes contributor playground, community, advanced topics. That's going to be the custom page instead of scrolling through this.
yeah, and if we want to actually source the guide so everything is on the site, like if you click the link down there in the notes.
Where?
Or it's in chat, sorry.
Oh, in chat, sorry. Yeah, y'all, this is too much for a website.
I know, but like if the README in the contributor guide is updated to be what you said you want it to be, but the content is still like be sourced from the community repo, it will then exist on the contributor site. So that way you could go to, you know, cates.dev/CLA and have that be that documentation on the CLA. So the big thing that this gets us by being in the contributor site and having the guide in the contributor site is a whole slew of like friendly URLs for these sort of things.
Oh my God, y'all. This is just too much, though.
Yeah, that's fine. It can be broken out. Like that's literally just the README that Gwen wrote originally.
I know.
So if that is
this left-hand column, so I told her, so for instance, this is what I said. I said, see the contributor guide at the top? Keep that. But instead of adding release notes, it should be welcome. And then bounty program should be before you get started. And then coding convention should be your first contribution. And then the collaborative development should be contributing. Like that's what the left panel should read. Because right now the left panel is literally a bunch of bullshit.
Where do you want the actual guide to live then?
Like, I don't know, but like that's not how we create websites, y'all. Like we don't like
okay.
This is like
the thing, like then it's the actual contributor guide itself that should be reworked.
Yeah, that's it. Then like
that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, like
because we did the whole thing with let's try and make it more web oriented, and you know.
But the thing is, like Node.js has a humongous thing and uses Netlify, right? They have a humongous contributor guide. Their website is literally 3 paragraphs, but it gives you all of the information you need with canonical links to GitHub, right? So like look at like Node.js.
I'm looking at it right now.
Get involved right here. This is perfect. Like this site is beautiful because it's just like, here's where we talk, here's where we learn. And then here, look at their contribution guide. This is it. And then every one of them has links in here. So like asking for help, reporting an issue, and then here's code contributions. Here's, look, if you'd like to fix bugs or add a new feature, please make sure you do the contribution guidelines. And then look, boom, right to their GitHub. So then it's like, they don't have to mess with like all of their text and legalese on a website for the most part. Because I mean, I feel like what we're building now, like what this reminds me of is like, this is just like a wiki. Right?
Okay. The whole thing was like, when we originally wanted to essentially redo the entire contributor guide, that was entirely poo-pooed upon to make it more web-oriented. Like, do you remember when we talked about pulling it out of the community repo and Hugo like actually turning into a site?
Yeah, but I thought that we could just break the pages down, but clearly we can't technically do that. Like, meaning like, why can't we just call content on certain pages? You see what I'm saying? Instead of one humongous page, like the one humongous.
That's fine. It can be broken apart. Like, it can be broken apart.
So we would just, so you're saying that we just need to break them apart in the community repo?
Yes, if the community repo is the source of truth, if the community repo is organized in a way that works, then this is automatically updated.
But I just don't like understand why we have to do that when other people just like create a website and like pop links on there.
I think Bob when you go to the home page, right? So the home page, the Kubernetes contributor guide, it has all the sublinks, right? It's just a different tab for the home and this. So is it like Paris? You were asking about the tabs, like for a different page, breaking up and then making it a different tab.
Yeah, like because the tabs on the left are just random. Like they don't take you through any kind of journey as a contributor. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like they're like, hey, I'm starting my journey, right? And I'm like, oh, so I guess I should click adding release notes first. That kind of thing, right? Yeah. So I'm wondering if like it's like what, like how can we just
we like if we remove the contributor guide completely from it, that's okay, but the contributor guide itself needs to be updated to actually reflect what people want.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm just still confused as to like why we can't just write a custom blurb and then hot link it just the way that Node.js does.
We can, but like, it's two things. Okay, so if we remove the contributor guide completely from this and do the little blurbs and everything and links, people will still have the problem of going through the contributor guide, with it being one big massive wall of text and everything.
Right, but I feel like we can correct that later, like that to ship the site. Like that's not, let's do the minimum possible to ship the site.
Okay, there we go.
What I'm saying?
Yes.
There we go. I want to do the minimum possible to ship this site.
Okay, so like then like we will pull out the contributor guide completely.
Yeah, like if it's just like us like doing 3 paras and then shipping the site, then like let's just do that. But because like I just feel like there's too much work. People don't want to do the work. Clearly, right? Like that's why I'm a fan of the way Node.js does it, because it's the only thing that their contributors do is update GitHub, and they have 1 or 2 or 3 section heading links on their website.
Yeah, the other thing, at least with like Node.js, that is also predominantly their public website. Like I think we have a Kubernetes.io/like contributing. It like that their Node.js site is not meant for developers. It is meant for, essentially, I should say contributors. It's meant for people to discover the project itself.
What do you mean? It says if you want to submit PRs.
Yeah, but like the general.
Like the get involved and then contribute. This part. Yeah.
But I think like we actually have that on Kubernetes.io.
No, it's only for contributing to docs. There's nothing in there about contributing to PRs.
Okay.
Like it's only contributing to docs. And then because this is the backstory here. The backstory here is